Hello, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back. It's Blood Splatter Chatter. We are live once again. It's Thursday night, and I am stoked to be here with my buddy, Mr. Eric the Stash. What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Not too shabby, not too shabby. We are doing something, as you know, a little bit different tonight. My man E, he hit me up. Hopefully, Steph's going to be joining us in a few short moments. He's having a little bit of, I think, an internet issue, which hopefully I'm not having one tonight because I've had a little bit of them in the past recently. But E, as you know, you hit me up. What led you? Basically, what we're doing tonight, we're doing a little Troma double feature. We're gonna be talking about some schlocky movies. We're doing Night Beast 1981 and Class of Nuke 'Em High from 1986, which are both like such wild, interesting movies. And so they're both like so bad it's good, but on very different spectrums of that so bad it's good, but with their
Very much.
similarities. And in the middle of that, we're going to talk just a little bit, a smidge of Toxic Avenger, just because if we're doing like a Troma night, he at least has to be mentioned. So we're spending like a couple minutes. I don't know if you know anything about him. Have you ever watched Toxic Avenger?
No, I haven't. I'm
Okay, well then,
excited to. I need
all
to.
right. You know what the main reason why we have to talk about him is because I really liked how the thumbnail looked with him on it. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking we'll just mention him in the middle because you really can't mention Class of Nukem High without at least touching on Toxie. So I'll dip into that
Yeah.
in the middle of it. But what led you to hit me up randomly and be like, bro, while I'm thinking of it, you should do like basically. So what'd you call it? Like a schlock night? What
Schlock
prompted
night,
that
yeah.
from you? What prompted that from you? And Night Beast is the one that you suggested. What's your history with the movie? Is this like something you watched in college with your buddies, or it has to be?
Yes, yeah. So there's a
Right.
couple things that prompted it. First off, is you, right? You call me onto a show to do Black Swan. And listen, I'm more than just the person that watches Oscar-worthy movies. I'm more than that, right?
Because I've had you
So
on so far for Nope and Black Swan, which you're right. That's what was so funny for me. I'm like, dude, he's such a smart dude. I've been picking you for like the highbrow
yeah, my
movies to
brow ain't
talk
that
about.
high.
I
It's
see
really
that.
not.
Oh, I see that.
So so this movie, a couple of buddies of mine way back in the early 2000s happened to be running a Troma booth at a comic convention, right?
Okay.
And so I was visiting them and whatever, and I'd heard of Troma, but I didn't know what the hell it was. But they're like, dude, you got to watch this, you got to watch that, and they were just like tossing DVDs out to the crowd like freaking candy. And I got Night Beast out of the pack, and they're like, you got to watch this. It's wild, it's
You have it?
crazy.
You still have it?
No, I used to have it, and even
Right.
if I did still have it, I would want to upgrade. You got to get that Vinegar Syndrome version or something like
Right.
that. So yeah, so I just fell in love with it immediately. It's like the stupidest bad good movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Definitely. Definitely. Like I've seen some in the last 3, 4 years since I've been on this horror journey. I've seen some schlock. I'm trying to think it's like some of the worst ones that I've seen. Oh god, the one Blood Sucking Freaks is one
Yeah,
that it came before this. It's not Troma, but it's along those same lines. Incredibly schlocky. Night Beast, there's something about it, and we'll get into it that is just so funny. It's just so funny how bad. And I've said it a handful of times leading up to this. I wish we could have watched these movies together. I know the
oh
technology exists. I don't know. We're all so goddamn busy. It's hard enough to get
yeah.
us all together for one night to do this, but then to get us together to watch the movies too. But that's obviously that's the way to do it. That's the way to watch these
Oh
things.
yeah, these are the movies you get together with your buddies, and you got to be in the right state of mind,
Totally.
and you got to know what you're getting into because this is a party movie.
Totally. 100%. Like yeah, exactly. And that's why, you know what I mean? Like I try to pick good movies to talk about on here, but also the thing I want to do is like not just like celebrate movies, but like study movies. Like that I kind of talked about it a little bit with Steph when we just did the trivia night. Go check it out. It's super fun. But like is to study all sides of film. You know what I mean? Like everything, like get into I don't know, like the parts of film that I would not get into otherwise. Like I probably would have never thrown Night Beast on. I would never know about it. And I'm glad that I do know about it. It's not a movie I'm going to recommend to a shitload of people, but it
No.
is a movie that I'm glad I saw. And I'm like, I think people that would be into this show would be glad that they saw. It's something that most people should check out.
Yeah, if you're studying all sides, this is that side of the die that you roll where all the numbers are rubbed off and the corners are all janky and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sticky. It's got
Yeah.
some smell that you can't quite place from your childhood. Um, I did want to clear something up. So, as far as Night Beast goes, I throw the movie on when you recommended it, and right away I think it's like Troma Entertainment. So I'm like, oh shit, this is Troma. And I just like you, I'm not super familiar with Troma Entertainment. I had just, however, out of nowhere, my buddy that I started the Cerebros with, my buddy Jeff, he hit me up like 4 months ago, maybe. You ready to rock stuff? Blink twice if you're ready to party. Oh, he's
We're
fucking.
ready.
He blinked like 40 times, dude. This guy's ready to get it. What up, Steph?
Yes.
Feeling a little, I might be a little chappy, but I don't know what the deal is with my headset, bro. Like I do the same thing every time. It's like it's hit or miss whether it wants to like
I have the same
it
shit.
was connected, but I couldn't hear anything. I don't know what
Every
it
time I get
is.
on, every live stream that you've ever seen me on is me restarting my computer twice before that my picture will pop up. Like I have the same thing, and it's a new MacBook Pro, and it's done that since day one. So I don't fucking know. But you're here and you look good. You sound really
No,
good,
it's better.
honestly. You don't sound choppy.
Really
Yeah,
good.
got a bit of a delay, but that's
Blame
that stuff
StreamYard.
delay that's like I love that delay. But all right. Where was so I guess the point that I was getting at, I just saw like right before we got on, I was like, I never saw Lloyd Kaufman, who is the guy that founded Troma with Michael Hertz back in 1975. I never saw his name on this, and I never saw any involvement with him. And he has his hands in like everything Troma. So I Googled what was Lloyd Kaufman's involvement with Troma, blah, blah, blah. And what I ended up finding out is he had nothing to do with it. This isn't even made by Troma. It was later on distributed by Troma. Troma sniffed it out. I was like, we should have made that. And they bought it. So now, like, it is a Troma film, technically, you could say. So I was tempted to change the name of this video that we're doing from the Troma double feature to like Blood Splatter Chatter Schlock Night, but I think it's Troma enough at this point that I'll just leave it at that.
Is
But
Night Beast the one that they took off someone's hands? Is that the one you're talking about?
yeah.
Okay.
Which makes sense because
yeah,
I kept on
sense.
describing Class of Nukem High as like basically they took the tone that they got from the Toxic Avenger and they made a stoner comedy with it. And like those are the only two other Troma films that I've seen are Toxie and Class of Nukem High, and they are like the exact same style, like they're the same vibe. But Night Beast is a much different thing. So let's go ahead and dig into Night Beast a little bit. We'll touch a little bit more on Troma, and I got some fun facts, some stuff we'll throw about them as we go. But Night Beast, I guess I got to pull this up. Boom. Night Beast, man, 1981. This one was made. Oh, I had his name. What was Michael Doler? Is that his first name? Doler?
Don Doler. Yeah.
Don Doler, which Eric warns me that there may be a Doler verse out there. But more or less, just to set this one up, like if you read the descriptions for this movie, it's just an alien crash lands on a small town and starts killing people. Like that is the description of this movie. There's nothing else. You've got this strange cop duo with this guy with the ugliest gray fro you've ever seen in your life. A white guy with a fro, just not a good look, and his little blonde cop just going around chase. There's this odd scene after odd scene that doesn't really connect with the strangest editing ever and the most awkwardly delivered lines in every single scene. But I honestly really enjoyed it on a second watch today. I hit you up, Eric, and I'm like, I'm enjoying this movie too much. But if I'm keeping it real, I fell asleep like 5 minutes after I text you and told you that. Like it is like both these movies, they're like you could easily fall asleep at any point during them. But unless you're watching
you wake
the way
up,
you should be.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're at because you're at the right place.
All right, so at my friend, I'll just send it to you first. I did like almost as a punishment for you offering up this movie. I asked you to look into a little bit of background information on Night Beast, and I was going to do that too, and I didn't. I didn't do it at all. And if I could be honest, I could say a lot of reasons why I didn't. But if I'm keeping it fucking real, it's because I started a new game with Fallout 4 this week, and I've just been doing almost nothing but that and raising a baby. So I've just been taking anytime I have not raising the baby, I've been in the wasteland just getting it. So if I'm underprepared this week, that's why. But what did you get, if anything? What did you find of interest on Night Beast?
So, of interest in the movie, 1.5 million things. I love this stupid ass movie. So it released in 1982. It had a budget of $14,000. Could you imagine making a movie with $14,000? Like every low budget movie has more money than this freaking movie did. Let me ask you this though: in that extraordinarily long credit scene where you're just in space, at the moment that you saw and Don LaForte as Drago, did you guys go, "Oh shit, Drago's gonna do some shit"? Because I was so excited at the stupidity of that moment right there before we even see the Night Beast.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't even pick up on it. I didn't even
Oh,
notice that. No.
if you have a person named Drago in your movie, something's gonna go down.
Is
Absolutely.
he's like the douchebag ex-boyfriend, right?
He is. That was the douchiest of douchebags.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah.
a hysterical character. Well,
Uh,
how was the rewatch? Or go on.
well, and I was gonna say the big thing that most people know about this movie is that it is the first credited, like movie or not appearance, but the first movie that J.J. Abrams had a piece of making.
Isn't that wild?
That is so freaking wild.
He did the score.
He
So
did
that's
the score.
actually
Yeah,
That's the J.J. Abrams. You didn't see the Lynk?
16-year-old J.J. Abrams, which
Yep.
is another thing that's interesting. Here's one thing I saw,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
actually, with me saying that this isn't actually a Troma film, it makes me kind of question this list that I'm about to read off to you. But according to this list, this is saying like all the people that Lloyd Kaufman kind of helped get famous and gave them their first jobs. Now Abrams is on this list, so it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I believe any of this anymore since he really wasn't involved with him. But it says Paul Sorvino, who's like Paulie from Goodfellas, Vanna White, fucking was in Graduation Day, Kevin Costner in Sizzle Beach, USA, J.J. Abrams, I don't know, Vincent D'Onofrio was in a Troma film. Marissa Tomei was in Toxic Avenger. Michael J. White was in Toxic Avenger 2. Billy Bob Thornton in Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. Samuel L. Jackson in Death by Temptation. Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They made a movie that Troma bought for them and distributed before they did South Park called Cannibal, the musical. David, I don't know how Angel from Buffy. David Boring. How do you pronounce his name, man? Anybody know? Link, you'll know.
Bronze or some shit. I don't know.
This is an
I always call
awkward
him
name.
Angel.
Just yeah, he's Angel. James Gunn wrote the screenplay for one of the more popular movies that they ever did, Tromeo and Juliet, and the Karma Electra was in The Chosen One. So it's not that I'm saying this guy is like, I don't know, like he's
Go ahead,
not.
say it. He's a
Yeah,
star
well,
maker.
he's not a star maker, but it is kind of interesting. Like there's a lot of people that do respect him as a filmmaker, and especially as an independent filmmaker. And like I guess a lot of like the business methods that they have used have kind of opened up the doors. There weren't these ways and these avenues to make independent film as successfully and as cheaply as people can now, and a lot of that is because of the work that Troma did to break away from the Hollywood system. So there's a lot of people like in the know that know more than me that like really respect the shit out of Lloyd Kaufman, and his partner Michael Hertz is really the business guy that a lot of those innovations came from. But let me say what's up in the chat real quick. Sal just popping in here. Appreciate you, my brother. Two Gun up in this. Kenneth Bird. Johnny Recaps. What up? Recaps, lads. Lads, are you from across the pond, my friend? And chill out, man. Thank you for being here, buddy. Appreciate you. But let me just send it to the link. We'll come back. We'll talk a little deeper in Night Beast in a second. I'm so curious, my brother. What the fuck did you think of this movie? Because I know you're not the type to sit down and just throw on some schlock, but I warned you a lot of times about what you were getting into.
You
Were
did.
you able to find like the entertainment in it, like the reason why it's a cult classic, or could you just not get into it in that way even?
I mean, I was able to get into it, but I don't see why it's a cult classic. But I was able to find some enjoyment or in entertainment while watching this. You know, it the fact that it was made on a $14,000 budget, that really, to me, as soon as I saw this, I was like, yo, it feels like the director or the producer went to a small town. I was like, yo, we're making a movie. Who wants to be in it? You know, and that's how
Exactly.
everything was cast, bro.
100%, dude. Like that old guy. Like, there's no way that dude's an actor. The old guy with the shotgun, the Elmer Fudd looking motherfucker. Like, they definitely just found that dude. We're like, hey, you got a gun and a flannel? Come here.
They had no time for retakes. Everything was one and done, bro. You get the line delivery. Yeah, but at least the movie knew it. it feels like it knew what it was doing, like what it was. You know, it had a $14,000 budget, and they're like, "Yo, let's make the most entertaining movie we can
On
within
14.
these reins." Yeah, it's it is bad though.
Oh,
Make
it's
no
bad.
mistake.
Oh yeah.
It's
It's
bad.
bad, but it's so bad. It's so bad. It's good. You know, like
Would you agree? Like, if
I
we would have all been together, this would be a blast. Like, I would really like love to sit down, even with just like any other human being. Like, I watched it by myself twice in the past 3 weeks, and it is just such a different experience, man. If you were just sitting down with some buddies, like I can't believe how bad it is. Like, there's so many moments like that.
yeah. No, this was when I told you about the Mystery Science Theater thing. And that's when this was the movie I was watching, because it was like 20 minutes in, and like the mayor was like, "It's time for another drink." I was like, "Jesus Christ, you're right, bro. It is time for a drink," because I don't know what the
Yeah.
fuck's going on. But it just, I still had fun, like laughing at the dumb shit in this movie, and
Right.
I would have like, this would be fun to watch with people and just kind of,
Right.
pick at it as it goes along while watching it for the first time. But
Oh yeah.
it was entertaining. It was entertaining overall.
Nice, dude.
The J.J. Abrams thing. I know we had already. I think it was you, Verno, that had said it like last week, but I just kind of wrote it off like it was some dude named who happens to be named J.J. Abrams.
Right.
Not the J.J. Abrams. But it's like now that I know that connection, like shit, like Super 8, like it's Super 8. This is the type of movie they shot in Super 8, like
Right.
small town, a low budget. So it's like, that's cool to see the parallels there. Yeah, interesting film though. I didn't hate it.
Hell yeah. Like, because it's so weird. There's so many movies that are bad, but they're not like, they might even be worse than this, or like harder to sit through. But what do
Yeah.
you think makes this, like, it gets compared with like, what's that movie? They made the movie called Disaster Movie, like based on the guy. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about? This rich eccentric guy that just made like the worst movies ever. James Franco did a movie where Disaster Movie. It gets compared to that guy's
Disaster
movie.
Artist.
Yeah, Disaster Artist, as like one of the most like celebrated so bad it's good movies ever. And there's all sorts of little things. I have my theories about like what makes it consistently funny, but like, E, do you have any, like, what is your explanation? What makes this like stand out?
The absurdity, I would have to say, like like we talked about the budget, and you can tell like every time they knew they had to stretch something out, like the movie opens up with a laser fight, right? That
Right.
laser fight felt like it went on 45 minutes long.
And then it stops, they go to the police station, and they come back and they do another laser fight right
Yeah,
after
exactly.
right after it.
Yeah, so I think it's just the absurdity, like the fact that like it just the movement from one scene to another. Like you're trying to look for, yeah, watch party movie for sure. Like you're trying to look for reasons why one scene goes into the next, and you can't, and you
Right.
shouldn't, to be completely honest. Like it's just the silliest bastard movie I've ever seen. So I don't know, it drew me in.
Right. There's something about the consistency of every line is bad. Like, there's
Oh
not
yeah.
one where they're like, just not one that was like, hey, you know what? He kind of got that one right. Everyone is super bad and super awkward, but like the editing to me is what is so interesting. It's always either like either every scene will drag on just like a second or two too long, like where they should have called cut, and it's just like a couple, like, just enough to make it awkward and, like, kinda funny, or it'll cut off super fucking quick. What's that stuff?
I noticed like instead of just a whole fucking panel, it's like it was like when the female sheriff or deputy and the sheriff were sitting there talking to each other. It was doing this weird shit where we like go up close to their face when you could just keep them in the same
Yeah.
fucking frame.
Mhm.
There's no need to try to make it dynamic in it. But no, it was interesting. I will say that the whole the ending I rewound like 5 times thinking I missed something, because I was like, bro, it just kind of floats off. That was that. But yeah, I think the dialogue and the editing, are what gives this movie an endearingness, should
Right.
I say? Because like you said, that there's nobody in this movie at one point where they're like, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Everyone was just like, oh my god, oh, hey, what's up? I didn't see you there. You know, it
Right.
was like that stiff, but it reminds me of the disaster artist in that
Exactly.
aspect. So
There's
I can
multiple
respect that.
lines that make me think exactly of that, like famous. I can't think of it for some reason. That line in Disaster Artist. No, don't hit her. Well,
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
there's so many moments like that where it's so weird. Like one of the first ones is it's like, yeah, this thing's going down. It's like we should go get Sarah or whatever the fuck her name is, and the guy's like, no, leave her alone. She's used to riding a desk. Well, she is a deputy and she is qualified. It's like, I don't know. Like right there, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm getting into now with like the awkward, but it's like every actor does that. It's just so fucking funny. Did you guys notice at one point? I meant to I was trying to rewind this and I got distracted and I never like finished it. But what's the guy's name? The douchebag guy?
Drago.
Fucking Drago.
Drago.
Drago, whatever the fuck. Him and this one dude are fighting. The guy that ends up getting electrocuted later on in the movie, I think it's him. They're fighting and they're rolling around on the ground. And all of a sudden they roll and it cuts to another scene and the lighting is completely different. Like it was.
I think their clothes are different too.
Their clothes are fucking different. The one guy's wearing like a different colored blue flannel, and all of a sudden it's daylight, and it was like morning or dusk or whatever before. And it's like, I don't know. It's perfect. There's so many moments like that that are so perfect about it. But the other thing I wanted to say about the editing is they do something consistently. Like normally you would have like there's people going through the woods, and they'll be like they're cutting to like the beast or whatever it is. And just like if it was gonna be normal, maybe there'd be like 3 cuts where they're showing them like go through the woods and then the night beast. But this it'll do like 15 cuts and it just goes on and on and on. And like whoever edited it did not have that feel that an editor needs. There's like a musicality to editing that this guy did not get. But it's definitely what makes it like so it adds to the absurdity of it. But you guys want to do just like fine. There's nothing really that you can get deeper into this movie. So if you guys have like favorite moments, any of the more standout moments, then E hit me with it, and then I was even I say this all the time. I was tempted to not grade this thing, but fuck it, let's grade the thing after that. But we'll do favorite moments, and then we'll go around.
You got one, Seth?
Even though put in the aspect, through the lens that it was shot on a $14,000 budget. I gotta admit, bro, like the head twisting off was pretty gnarly for $14,000. Fucking the whole shot, the laser versus shotgun battle at the very beginning of the movie. I was like, yo, bro, this is like Star Wars for hillbillies, and this is kind of dope, But I respect that, knowing that it was shot on $14,000.
There were some of the shots of the Night Beast that I thought looked pretty cool too. Like it was just like some smoke and lighting, and particularly like some profile shots of him that looked dope. And the design is cool. There must have been something.
I wish they would have got rid of the suit. If they would have just made him like more just like a body type, I think that would have been more intimidating.
There's something
I did like
that
the
makes
teeth.
I feel like there wasn't a person in the body much of the time. You guys notice like the majority of the times that they actually show the Night Beast, the camera's like right up in his grill. So it's like I feel like there was just like someone like holding him a lot of the times and like running through the woods with him and shit. They couldn't afford or whatever to put the thing on a body, but it's so fun, dude. Just while I'm thinking of it, before I forget, one of my favorite scenes is there's like 2 parts in this that are absolutely hysterical. I only steal one of them when the 2 scientists are locked down in the basement. And the one guy, he decides like, I'm going to go upstairs and check on it. And this is a good example of just the editing being so weird. And he's creeping up the stairs for fucking ever and ever and ever. Then he gets to the top of the steps. And he opens the door and you just see this guy like kind of looking around. And then he looks and it shows the Night Beast. And he's like, it looks like he's right fucking there. And the guy just goes, closes the door like quietly and backs down. And he never looks concerned. Like even when the Night Beast then comes down. But I don't know, E, you got a favorite scene you want to throw at me?
Dude, I feel bad because I'm going to choose one that doesn't even have the Night Beast in it. But
That's fine.
The pool scene where we have an emergency. You got to get everyone out here. We're not getting anyone out of here. And the dude just boom, 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 starts blasting his gun off. Nobody freaks out at this dude blasting his gun. But then he's like, we have a poison emergency. You have to leave. There's gas floating in. And everyone loses their damn minds and starts running.
It's so ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
The guy that's there, what's funny is what I think that they're doing. They're trying to do Jaws, Like, we've got the
yeah.
governor coming. We have something important going on, but there's danger to the citizens. No, you know what I mean? Like they're doing Jaws where they're putting,
You yeah, you can't close down the beaches.
Exactly. You can't close down this pool party for the governor. So fucking ridiculous. That guy that's in charge of the pool party, he is one of the more over the top and like ridiculous parts of it.
Oh yeah,
where he's like, he's just going off at certain times. But Steph, you got one?
Oh no, I would go with the head twisting. Knowing that it was shot on $14,000, I'm actually pretty impressed by that. And that it was the end scene where with the whole net casting, he's like, "Get out of there!" He's like, "I can't," and he like evaporates with the dude, and then the camera just kind of pans off, and the movie ends. That was probably my favorite scene. Just because of how random it collided together. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I'll just say the last bit of with those scientists, because to me this is the peak of the movie, where we had the bit that I said earlier after he sneaks back down the steps, but then when they electrocute the Night Beast in the basement, and the way like they don't show, they're not like really showing you, but it looks like there's some people here, and the Night Beast is here. And they like sneak around him. They set up, they get these wires together, they put the thing down and they dump some water on it. And then it shows that the Night Beast has been standing there this whole time. Like, I don't know. It's just like the weirdest editing and the way it's
the
shot.
Night Beast, the entire time you see him kind of looking back and forth like he can't see these people.
And they're never that concerned. He's just like kind of slightly concerned that there's this giant alien monster that he's getting ready to electrocute. But I will say it's not something I will forget anytime soon. Eric, do you have that art print?
Dude, not yet. No, it comes in the mail on Friday. I'm so mad.
Bastard. This guy went and bought this art piece, or this he got a wild hair up his ass. He watched the movie. I'm just gonna add this part in. He got hammered drunk. He watched the movie, and then he bought an art print for Night Beast, which I love and respect you for. So funny. But all right, let's go ahead and I don't even know how the fuck do you grade this thing, but we're gonna do it anyway. I'll just send it to you, man. Out of 5, what do you give Night Beast for just your entertainment, your enjoyment? Anybody down in the chat, if you guys have seen this masterpiece, let us know your score out of 5.
I mean, we're grading on a curve, right? We can do this on a schlock scale, right? So I mean, if that's the case, I'm giving it a 5. I can't not give it a 5. It's the goddamn Night Beast.
Fair enough, dude. Fair enough. I love it. I'm turning the camera off because I got some allergies going on and I've got to blow my nose. But Steph, go and I'm gonna turn the mic off too. Steph, brother, what is your score, man? I love it. Eric, giving it a 5.
My score is going to be a little bit more tempered. I respect it for what it did, but this movie was one shot takes, bro. I'm gonna give it a 2.5. Like, realistically, this might be on the one scale for being critical about it.
Right.
I'll give it 2.75. Based on the fact that it was such a film student thing.
Right.
But there was some enjoyment to be had there, so I'll give it a 2.75, 69, whichever one we're doing.
I think that's actually pretty apt. How the fuck do you grade this thing? I think it's either a 0, a 5, or a 2.69. I think you're pretty, you know what I mean? You do this, this is middle of the road because it is the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's the worst movie I've ever seen. Like Blood Sucking Freaks, the one I compared it to, that's just like so bad. It's more vile and it's just like disgusting, and there's like sexual assaults happening left and right. There's some exploitation going on in this, but it's not nearly as offensive as what you get in Blood Sucking Freaks. So I don't know. Like we said earlier, I don't think that they. Do you guys think that they knew that they were making this bad of a movie? I don't think they did.
I think they knew. I think they, like I said, they had the budget in mind. Like, let's make the best movie we can within this allotted budget. I don't think they set out to make a bad movie. Just let's make the most entertaining movie we can with $14,000 based on this premise.
Yeah. I happen to know that they definitely were not, because the dude has made this movie 4 times.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about the Dollarverse.
You saw that too?
Yo, there's like 5 of these. bad
Yeah.
boys out there.
And it's the same. It's like the redneck versus alien verse, right? Where it's the same exact movie over and over, but he did the alien. I'm reading my notes here. The alien factor first in like the 1978 or something like that. Then he did Night Beast, arguably the best of the redneck versus aliens. Galaxy Invader. Oh, by the way, Alien Factor had almost the same exact cast. The Mayor Birdie, he shows up. His
Oh,
aide,
really?
he's there too. The sheriff, it's the same party, right?
Oh
oh
no.
shit.
Yeah.
He was the
And
worst
then,
part and the best part is the sheriff, the cop.
oh, I know, yeah. And then Alien Rampage. But no joke, beat for beat, same movie over and over and over. It's like he's trying to perfect the formula
I
of
love it.
how
That's so
rednecks
funny.
can go after these aliens.
That's so hysterical.
Respect.
That reminds me of like a Troma fun fact that I wanted to add in. This is like, it's one of these things, like if you're into Troma, if you're into these movies, like there's like fan service directed at the Troma fans a lot. You know what I mean? Like most of the movies take place in the fictional town of Tromaville, but they'll reuse a lot of actors, which we see in Class of Nuke. A lot of the Toxie actors are in that. But there's props that they use. There's this like penis monster that shows up in a bunch of different Troma movies. And another thing that they'll do is they're in one of their, I can't think of the fucking name of it. Somebody, Sergeant Kubiaki or something like that. There's some scene where a car explodes and flips over. So then in like most future Troma films, anytime that there's a car crash, they just plug that scene in. So it's like just become a running gag, which would be fun if like you watched a lot of these and shit. It would be like, oh shit, there's the penis monster again. I guess Toxie fights him at one point, or just shit like that. So it's kind of interesting, and it's different. It's definitely unique, man. So speaking of unique, since I could have sworn, Eric, I thought you would watch the Toxic Avenger, but like I said, I really just wanted to talk about him because I wanted to put him on that thumbnail, and he is basically Lloyd Kaufman co-directed this one, and they kind of found their flavor that carried on like the Troma flavor for years to come after this. Where what Toxie is, he's pretty much like a superhero. He's kind of like a Peter Parker type character, where he's this janitor, he's this nerd, and he's always getting picked on, he's always getting bullied, and some circumstance happens where he gets some toxic ooze on him, and he becomes the Toxic Avenger, and he's out there fucking people up and being a hero, but he'll like rip a motherfucker's arms off and shove them up someone's ass to be the hero. He's that kind of guy. But what they do in that movie is, I think, like, you could watch the movie. Like my buddy, I did a podcast on this like 4 months ago that nobody's ever heard with a buddy of mine. He's just like, we want to talk about it. And he didn't like, he thought like they didn't know how bad the movie was, or they didn't know what they're doing. In my opinion, they did know. Like they carry that tone across every character. Every character kind of talks the same way, and they're all over the top. They carry the tone across the entire movie, and it does have this kind of flavor to it that you can immediately tell like that's a Lloyd Kaufman film. And that's like, to me, that is a sign of a good filmmaker. Whether or not they're good films, there is something to be said for instantly being like, oh, this is that dude's movie. So I don't know, for anybody in the chat, yeah, if you got any thoughts on Toxie, throw it out there. But I'll just kind of move on from it since I am the only one that has seen the shit. But I kind of do recommend it. Like, it is something that I 100% want to cover on the channel. The only reason that we didn't, first of all, it would have been great to call it a Troma triple feature, but I wasn't going to try and put anybody through that. So I thought the double feature was enough. But also, I figured Toxie kind of deserves his own spotlight episode where maybe we do like the 1 or 2 or 3 of his movies. But
dude, one thing that is wild.
Steph,
you guys excited for the remake?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the story behind the remake. I know that they did a musical recently where I think that was Peter Dinklage.
Oh no, is it?
See,
I know he's in the. I don't think it's a musical. I know he's in the new one. That they released like a little trailer for it, but it didn't show too much. I hope it's not a musical.
I know, dude. Well,
I gotta check that out though.
It says there's one right here, the Toxic Avenger 2023.
Elijah Wood.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, dude. Yeah, it has Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, he's
For some reason,
classic.
I thought that this was a fucking musical. I'm confused on it, honestly. If anyone in the chat knows for sure, what up, Inja? By the way, how you doing? Thanks for
I
stopping
saw
in. Oh,
um
you
in,
saw the trailer?
but the trailer doesn't really give any indication it's going to be a musical. It looks pretty brutal, to be honest.
You know what?
It
Hopefully
kind
I'm
of
wrong then. Yeah.
it seems like it might have been, based on the few Troma films I've seen. It seems like they're trying to update that flavor a little bit.
Right. Right,
Yeah.
right. That is another thing I'm curious about is like what are the films like after this? I've heard they're similar to this tone, but they had like that Tromeo and Juliet in 96 written by James Gunn. Supposedly there's like a 3-film run in that era that's their best work. Like Toxic Avenger is their most
Really?
popular movie and it kind of became like the mascot for the company, but supposedly those are their best movies and I could see it if James Gunn wrote Tromeo and Juliet. I'm very interested to see it. It's, you know what I mean? I doubt anybody
She covered.
with that kind of skill. Yeah, for
Never
sure. Yeah, I'm curious, man. But
Well, this movie that we're about to talk about right here, like I think they had like 5 sequels. One of them just came out in the 2010s. So
which totally makes sense.
Wow. Yeah.
Because just to set this one up, chill out, man, in the motherfucking house. What up, buddy? Thanks for being here, man. To set this one up, I went in not knowing what to expect. I did not expect from looking at the cover art, it doesn't do it justice. Because really, like my takeaway from this is, it's a 1986 stoner comedy. That's a stoner comedy, kind of a coming of age story with that. There's a nuclear waste thing again. Once
Atomic
again,
High.
where basically there's people growing weed out of this nuclear sewage, near this nuclear sewage plant. Fucking I don't know what I'm trying to say. They're using that as like the fuel for the fucking weed, and it's turning people into monsters and just madness. But a lot of like what I said with the Toxic Avenger, I think it's just as true with this one, if not even more true, where they 1000% knew what they were doing. They nail the tone. And in my opinion, like the first 20 minutes of this movie are fucking fire. Like I think it's really, really, really good. Like for what they're trying to do, like it's super fast paced and funny, and the dialogue is actually pretty good. And the acting, for as shitty as it is, it's consistently shitty in like the way that they're going for. It kind of falls apart later, and they don't pull it off. But honestly, I think this is like their best movie that I've seen. I think it's better than the Toxic Avenger. It's fucking a million times better than Night Beast. But it was both of your first time seeing it. What did you think of it? First timer?
dude, it's got a weird like tone. Like I think I texted you and I was just like, man, this is everything I expected and nothing I expected, because it was wild. But it's got a weird tone. It's kind of like Revenge of the Nerds. I want to say meets something, but I don't know what the hell that something is that it meets, right? That's the secret sauce for Troma, I guess.
The Toxic Avenger, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. But it was funny. I was sitting there watching it with my wife, and like throughout the entire movie, I'm trying to sit there and piece it together. I'm like, oh, maybe he's the hero and that's what they're going to go after. And she's like, stop, what are you doing? I'm like, no. Okay. He's not the hero. He's the villain, actually. And now they're going to go after this. And she's like, stop it. You're like, that's not what this movie's about.
Right. I love that you say that, because I realized that on this last watch through, it's like 50 minutes into it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what this movie's about. Because they kind of start out, I think they do a pretty good job of setting up the two love interests with each other. And like, oh, she wants to hook up and he doesn't know it, and he wants to hook up and she doesn't know it, and they smoke this shit and she thinks she's pregnant, he thinks he's got a giant fucking monster boner, and then they lose that arc somewhere in the movie. And then I realized, I don't know what this movie is about. What is the plot of this movie other than that there's a nuclear power plant a quarter mile away from this high school, and then there's a monster at the end? It does become clear there's a monster at the end, but for a while it's not clear what the film is trying to do at all. But what did you think, Steph? Yeah, go ahead.
I was lost. I kind of mentally checked out. Not really, but I just, in terms of like what the fuck's going on, I mentally checked out after like the party scene.
Yeah, 100%. Same, dude. I think it peaks there. Did you guys agree that the beginning is like solid? Were you guys into the first like 20-30 minutes of the movie? Yeah,
it all makes sense.
I will say, like, I like in the first 20 minutes of Night Beast, like I said, when the mayor was like, I need another drink, I was like, you and I too, brother, because this shit is going to be a long ride. But this one was fun. It's it definitely, I think they both knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
but this one was way more focused, should I say? You know, it definitely
Yeah.
had a goal, and they met the criteria for that. Um,
I'm gonna try and look up the
it's entertaining.
budget
It
real quick
just
because I feel like it clearly had a much bigger budget than
Oh
Night
yeah,
oh
Beast.
yeah,
I
I
think I
almost
did
feel
actually
like
look that up.
the had a little more focus of a plot in a way, because like I said, I really don't know how things spiraled and connected, you know, outside of the party. And I mean, I guess it's kind of maybe the faculty took some inspiration from this movie in terms of
Mm,
like drugs, and instead, you know, faculty didn't turn the aliens into drugs, but it was the counter for like the
right,
weakness for the kryptonite. uh some interesting characters. It was visually, it was cool. I thought it was
right,
really unique how, you know, walking outside of a fucking high school, you just see this fucking Springfield nuclear power plant um in the background, just so
right.
casually
Yeah.
close. uh it's wild. You know, 80s were a wild time, just like from what the fuck everyone was wearing. It's kind of inspired my color motif today. And then in terms of like, they were just whooping people's asses in the hallway, and it was
Oh,
like, hey,
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
that's life. That was pretty, but it was funny. Yeah, this movie was, it was wild though. I enjoyed it. I will say, like, the whole boner monster.
Yeah.
My man, I thought it was about to pop for sure. Yeah, but then he was just like, you know, he had like this weird, like, what? It's like he didn't realize what was going on for the longest time. He kind of, once it was all said and done, and the shit's like up here, he was like, oh, he was like, he had this satisfied look on his face. I was like, what? Like, but it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was
I
entertaining.
like his I think the makeup design or just the practical effects in general are like really good in this movie. It's a cool, gnarly look. Like when he's having that boner situation, they at one point they like switch and they pan to his chest, and then when they pan up to his face and you see the makeup that they did there, that was badass. And then when that character
Yeah,
later is like beating up the Cretans, he's got all the oozy shit coming out of his mouth. You know what it reminded me of? And that movie came out after this one, but I actually even looked to see if it was a Troma film, and it's not. Is a fucking Street Trash.
yo, yeah,
You
I
know,
definitely
but
got street trash
it makes
vibes.
me want to take a little away from Street Trash because that was one thing, like the blue that they use in that with that bright, vibrant blue that you see. It's kind of like they took like, oh, let's take the green that they use in the Troma films and let's like tweak it. It's just they used a lot of the aesthetic from this and the Toxic Avenger you see in that film, but they're very
Absolutely.
similar. Trying to think of what to say on this one or fucking go with it. I guess we'll go for favorite moments, man. Like, uh,
I was just thinking of that.
for me, there's so many like silly things, and there's a lot of characters in this that you do see in the Toxic Avenger. Like this main like douchebag character on the left, he plays like almost the same exact character in the Toxic Avenger, where he's just like over the top fucking asshole. But the bit where they're like they steal the lady's purse and they're faking a seizure, he's like, my buddy needs something to put in his mouth. You could save a life. Which, first of all, I didn't know where they were going to go with that. Like, oh my god, we're not going to have her put in his mouth. But then they steal. They're like, she needs your purse to put in his mouth. Like, and then he gets up and just smacks her groceries out of his hands and punches her in the face. It's like this is what they do in this movie. They take it to somewhere where you're not like thinking it's going to go, and that is a big thing that Lloyd Kaufman gets like applauded for, is just being an envelope pusher and an innovator in that way. But that there's a bunch of great moments. But you got one, Eric, you want to highlight?
Dude, it's hard to pick because this movie's all over the place. I gotta go, I guess, with the little baby Toxie monster thing at the end. Because
Yeah,
like if you talk about the budget that was put behind this movie in comparison, it looked pretty darn good actually. Like it looked legit, like when they're having to fight it and it's taking out all the Cretans and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the ending.
yeah, no, I agree, dude. I mean, I think that monster. There's a lot of moments. It's like I'm surprised I don't see it more. Like, why have I never seen that monster? Just like in other documentaries that I watch or whatever. Like, I think the practical effects are really fucking good. Somebody said something. I was gonna say something.
What is terra firma?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's another. It's a It's another Troma film. I think it's part of that era that I was talking about in the late 90s. Oh, I know what I was
Oh,
gonna say is the budget, according to Wikipedia, it's got a I love when they have these crazy wide gaps. It's between a 400,000 and a $2 million budget. So who knows? But either way, low, like a pretty low ass budget for 1986. But I'm just gonna look up Terra Firma because I kind of want to know that because that's another big one. 1999. So I think it is. That's part of that where people say it was like the peak of it. Directed by Lloyd Kaufman, who co-directed this one with somebody else whose name I wish I did know. But as far as another famous moment or a favorite moment, the eyeball scene where they like monster like pokes through the back of one dude's skull and his eyeball popped out. That looked fucking great. There's another one where you've got this douchebag on the left. They're like, "What are we gonna do with this girl? Yeah, what can we do with her? What can we cut off?" And someone's like, "Maybe her nipple." And the way he goes, "Yeah, her nipples." It's just like something so ridiculous about the way he says that. I guess I just have opening scene. I think I have mutant boner, pregnant, and opening scene. That whole opening bit just ramps up so fucking badass to when he dives out the window and he's shaking on the ground and all that. But I don't know, spoilers. She'll say spoilers. If you haven't seen Terra Firma, they showed it. They actually showed it. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, brother.
Considering what we've already seen, it could be a lot of things.
It could be anything. I don't know. You guys have anything else to say on this thing? You just want to fucking wrap it up and grade this bad boy? Yeah, go ahead, Steph.
It was when the dude got fisted.
How did it go? I don't remember. He got fisted? Where?
And the monster like shoves its fist right down his throat.
Oh yeah.
I might have fucking fallen asleep on that one. Honestly. Because just like you said, Steph, well, I don't want to say I was checked out, but it really had a hard time both these movies. They have a hard time keeping your attention. Like, especially like 40 minutes into this one, I find myself keep realizing like, oh, I'm not fucking paying attention to this movie.
Yeah. I don't know how you do the multiple watches sometimes, because if I'm genuinely not interested in something, I can put it on and I'm gonna be restarting that shit for like 10 minutes for like the next couple hours, like watching the first 10 minutes for like 2 hours straight.
That's partially why I'm so unprepared this week, is because I wasn't some movies. What I like to do, I always like watch these things twice, but I watched this like 3 weeks ago. So that way it's not back to back, but I haven't really been looking forward to rewatching either of these motherfuckers, even though I probably did enjoy Night Beast today a little bit more because it was just, I don't know. I think it tickled me a little bit more.
Well, isn't that the beauty of these movies too?
Right.
Though, like if you're watching it with a group, it's fun because you poke fun at it. And if you're watching it by yourself, you look up for a second and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that scene. And then you go back to doing the dishes or whatever the hell you're doing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It is a good movie for that because there's not any like flow to it, especially Night Beast. You don't have to like get in the rhythm of it to have this scene impact you properly. You just look up and be like, oh my God, are they having sex now? Where the fuck did that come from?
I said the same for this movie, for Nuke High as well. Like, you know, after the whole party scene, this movie is just a coalescence of random scenes almost, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, it's like the dude saves a chick. He some dudes are spying on some people having, well, that was the party scene, spying on people having sex, but it's like, you know, the laser at the end, that's kind of one thing that stands out to me. But you know, I'd say there's really no cohesiveness.
No, that's the thing.
With this. Oh, the dude at the beginning comes back. I do remember that. The big old fat dude with
the fat dude. He pretty much plays the same character in the Toxic Avenger. Nah, he's not the same character. He's like the lead like gangster, but it's a similar thing where there's like toxic waste. And they're like, it's not toxic. It's like very similar shit. But yeah, I don't know. I think what was I gonna say? Oh, no, that's what it is for me. Like, I think they just missed the mark where this would have been like a big movie, like a big popular schlocky shitty movie, which it is. It's definitely like a big cult classic, but it's not one that any of us had seen before this week. But if they would have kept that flow from the beginning through, I think this would have been like a super successful movie. And this was for quite a while their most successful VHS sales. So this was bigger than the Toxic Avenger for money wise. And like I said, I think it's better they made money off the Toxic Avenger, and they clearly put some of it into this. But let's
Would
go
you
ahead. Go ahead, Eric.
in a I was gonna say, in a world where we had the Toxic Avenger as a cartoon, like tell me that we couldn't have had like Nukem High, the TV show. It airs right after Silver Spoons or some shit like that.
Right. It really does make me curious to see the newest stuff. I wish I had found time to put, because all this shit's on Tubi. Like so much of Troma's catalog you can get for free on Tubi. But I would have liked to check out what they're up to right now. What's the latest that Troma's doing? Because Lloyd Kaufman, he's still out there. He's still running it. And there's something I should have said at the beginning of it. The man graduated in Yale in 1968. Like, this is a smart dude. He's not some jackass. This is like a really smart guy that was raised by Jewish parents. That's another thing that was funny to me. Like, because I watched an interview with him, and just knowing that this is a guy came up in his Jewish household, and there's certain lines that are like such like, oh, there's this a Jewish comedic sensibility. The one girl's like, what'd she say? She's like, you know how people look at cockroaches and say yuck? Well, cockroaches look at you and say yuck. But picture that with like, you know, you look at cockroaches and say yuck. Well, cockroaches look at you and say yuck. That's like, that is a Jewish joke right there. And it's like, there's a lot of that in here that's just makes it a little funny to think about. But all right, let's grade this son of a bitch, man. This is what is even harder to grade, I think, than Night Beast. But Eric, I'll send it to you, brother. Out of 5, and you guys in the chat, same.
Dude, I think your grading scale on the last one was spot on. It's got to be nothing middle of the road or everything. I'm going to go 2.69 on this one.
Yeah, I love it. That does make sense. I love it. Steph?
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm gonna do a repeat. 2.69. They're in the same vein. They just do different things.
Right.
Night Beast and Nukem High.
Definitely. I'm gonna go for a 3 on this one, because I feel like this one is like a real movie. They tried to make a real movie. Like, they tried a lot harder than Night Beast did. They might have tried there, but they came closer to making a real movie in this one, I think.
They got $2 million versus $14,000.
Yeah.
True. No, true. But I mean, if you look at the level of acting, it's a lot better. Like, it's a lot better. The only reason why Night Beast is not the only reason. One of the reasons why it's still talked about is because of how bad that acting is in this. And I think the people are giving it there's something about knowing that tone that you're going for. Like, these people were directed to talk a certain way. And in Night Beast, they weren't. It was like, say this line however the fuck you want, and it is good. We're going to put it in the movie. And in this one, they're like, no, you got to say it like this. It's got to be more fucking energetic. So it's like, I got to respect that they carried this tone over. So I don't know. To me, for me, it's more of a real film. But
it doesn't have J.J. Abrams attached to it, though.
I know. They put there. We got Chill Out Man gives it a 3. He almost gave it a 62, but then last second he changed his mind to a 3. But all right, so a 3 from me, 2.69 from Eric and from Steph. Good times. I don't know what I have on this slideshow. It's not what I expect. I'll just say this real quick. I don't know what the fuck you guys are gonna see here on Blood Splatter Chatter next week, because I don't need to get into all the details, but my whole schedule just got flipped around. I will get into the details. They just changed my wife from fucking days to nights, and now I'm looking at like how I'm gonna record shows. I'm like, oh, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do this, but I'll figure it out and we'll get some shit out there. But I do know that Late Night with the Devil is coming out tomorrow on Shudder. Everybody's talking about this movie. It seems to be like a very big deal. I want to see it, and I want to cover it like as soon as I can on the channel in some form or fashion. And I'm getting together with my buddy Eric, and we're talking about Phantasm. So sometime soon, you're going to be seeing Late Night with the Devil first, I think, and then Phantasm after that. So I would say check that out tomorrow on Shudder if you get a chance. Check out some Phantasm. That might be like 2 weeks from now or whatever. But that's pretty much what's coming up on the channel in some capacity. And then last night, man, Steph, I wish you could have been there, dude. I had a fucking blast talking X-Men for the first time in a long time with our homie Stu over on Supreme Clientele on Dr. Doom's fan club. So yeah, dude, if you guys are into X-Men at all, if you're watching the new shit, you haven't checked out the show we did, go check it out. It was a lot of fun on Dr. Doom's fan club talking X-Men 97 tomorrow night. Blame Fable and his amazing friends. 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central Time, 9 Eastern. Stu will be there. Steph, you on there tomorrow night?
No, I'm not on that one.
Gotcha. Always a good time over there, and you would think I would be a good host and a good friend, and I would have got E's thumbnail, but at the last minute, I was like, oh shit, I didn't. But luckily, I've got E here that can tell you what do you have going on, my friend, over on 9-Panel Grid.
Every Monday morning, I got new comic book reviews dropping. Last week had some really good books coming. I'm actually reading books right now for the next video coming out here. But yeah, 8 a.m. Eastern time for all you East Coasters, 5 a.m. on the West Coast here. But yeah, just having a blast doing comic book reviews.
Hell yeah, my friend. What's Robbie doing on Monday night? I know you're on there.
Oh, that's right.
Eric?
Yeah, I'll be on PCP movie nights, Monday nights doing A Serious Man.
A serious man. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I've actually never seen that, never heard of it, but hell yeah. Check out
Same here.
PCP movie. Oh, really? That's awesome. PCP movie night on Monday. Good times be ahead. All right, all you guys in the chat, Six Deuce, Lefty, Chill Out Man, Inja stopping in here. Rogue, I don't know if I saw you, but I'm used to seeing you, so I'm just gonna say your name anyway. Inja, Sal was up in here. Johnny Recaps, Kevin Bird, Chill Out Man. I think I said you, but it's always worth getting you in twice. But hell yeah, man. Great times being ahead. I appreciate everybody. Go check out Late Night with the Devil. It's coming out tomorrow, and we'll be talking about it soon here on Blood Splatter Chatter. We'll see you next time.